Scene 1. Body Manor, 1950s. It is foggy from the storm, and a dimly lit flickering chandelier hangs above. Yvette, a French maid, dressed perfectly, listens to the news.
McCarthy's shrieking denunciations and fear-mongering have created a climate of fear and suspicion across the country, raising the question in households across the nation. Who are the un-American Americans amongst us?
The front door creaks open, unheard by Yvette. Enter Wadsworth, the butler, dressed perfectly, shaking off his umbrella, a twinkle in his eye. He stands behind Yvette and listens to the radio.
President Eisenhower refuses to engage directly with McCarthy. In a letter to his brother, however, Eisenhower explains, as for McCarthy, only a short-sighted or completely inexperienced individual would urge the use of the office of the presidency to give an opponent the publicity he so avidly desires. Time and time again, without apology or evasion, I and many members of this administration have stood for the right of the individual for free expression of convictions, even though those convictions might be unpopular, and for uncensored use of our libraries, except as dictated by common
Yvette?
Monsieur, I did not hear you come in. You frightened me half to death.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to do that. There are so many better ways to die. Please, would you turn off that noise? Thank you. Is everything ready?
Oui.
Cook!
A formidable cook, dressed perfectly, appears in the flash from the kitchen.
You called, sir?
Everything on the schedule?
Dinner will be ready at 7:30.
Revealing a butcher knife.
Sharp.
Right on time. You have your instructions?
Oui.
Very well then.
Yvette takes the radio. Cook exits the kitchen.
Let the game begin.
Wadsworth Granley opens the front door. Colonel Mustard, officious, stands in the doorway, shielding himself from the rain. He wears a decorated colonel's uniform.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm not sure if I'm in the right...
Yes, indeed you are expected, Colonel.
How do you know who I am?
It is Colonel Mustard, isn't it?
No, that's not my name. My name is...
I believe tonight it's been recommended that you use a pseudonym, sir.
No, thank you. I took an antihistamine before I came.
May I take your coat?
Ooh, all right.
As Wadsworth takes his coat, Yvette, who has wheeled on the bar cart, now pops open a bottle of champagne, startling Colonel Mustard, who yelps.
No, not to worry, sir. It's merely the maid in the hall with the champagne cork.
Oh, all right. Let's set up.
Champagne?
Don't mind, please.
This way, Colonel.
Thank you.
Yvette escorts Colonel Mustard to the lounge. As Colonel Mustard enters,
Are you expecting anyone else?
Indeed. I'll be right.
This way, Colonel.
Pleasure, dear.
Yvette opens the lounge door, escorting Colonel Mustard inside. Wadsworth opens the front door. Mrs. White stands, tragic and morbid, dressed in funeral clothing, guarding herself from the rain. Over her face is a mesh black veil.
Good evening, ma'am. Please, do come in.
Do you know who I am?
She pulls the veil back to reveal her face.
Only that you are a socialite, to be known this evening as Mrs. White.
Yes, it said so in my letter. But why?
Excuse me. Mrs. White, this is Yvette, the maid. Yvette, Mrs. White. I see you two know each other.
We've never met.
Champagne?
I think not.
Please, warm yourself in the lounge.
Why? Do I look old?
A bit.
Wadsworth escorts Mrs. White to the lounge.
The lounge is right through here.
Wadsworth opens the door. Mrs. White steps inside the lounge, startling Colonel Mustard.
Oh, hello.
Hello! Pleased to meet you.
Hi, I'm rarely pleased to meet anyone.
Is that
More?
Yvette opens the front door. Mrs. Peacock, middle-aged, wealthy and batty, stands, covered in jewels, a foxtail fur coat, and fur stole, a hat of peacock feathers. She is shielding herself from the rain with a box of candy.
Bonjour, madame. Please come in from the rain.
Mrs. Peacock enters.
Mrs. Peacock, I presume.
Who? Oh, yes, that's me.
Yes, yes. Cook, would you please take Mrs. Peacock's stole?
Mrs. Peacock turns to give the cook her stole. She recognizes the cook and flinches.
I see you two know each other.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I've never seen this woman before in my life.
Someday.
My lips belong to the Lord.
Yes. Please make yourself comfortable in the lounge.
As Wadsworth escorts her to the lounge, she remembers the lavishly wrapped box of chocolates in her hands.
For your hospitality.
Oh.
There's a couple of Benjamins hidden under the caramels for you, butler.
How sticky.
You know, I expect to be treated like the wife of a...
Oh, hold that thought, ma'am. The lounge is right through here.
Wadsworth opens the door to the lounge.
This is really turning out to be quite the crowd.
Wadsworth opens the front door. Mr. Green, straight as an arrow, stands in a trench coat, holding an umbrella. He does not enter, but remains in the doorway, anxious.
Excuse me. Is this the right address to meet a Mr. Body?
Sit! No, not you, sir.
Excuse me, I suppose this letter has me rather anxious.
Mr. Green.
Yes, that's exactly who I am. Well, this isn't at all what I expected.
I find if you expect nothing, you're never disappointed.
Oh, I'm not disappointed.
Hold that thought. I'll be right with you.
Wadsworth opens the door to find Professor Plum smoking a pipe with Miss Scarlet smoking a long, thin cigarette standing behind him.
Good evening.
Please arrive at 7:30 sharp on Saturday evening. Well, here I am,
Professor Plum.
if you say so.
Well, well, well. And I thought I'd seen everything.
Mrs. Scarlet. Sorry, Miss Scarlet. I didn't realize you and the professor were acquainted.
We're not. The bridge is washed out. My car broke down, and this professor offered to give me a ride. I didn't realize we were headed to the same place until we arrived.
Yes. How was your drive?
It's a long haul.
Yes. Indeed, it is a long haul. But then again, it's a very large house.
Wadsworth points the way to the lounge. Miss Scarlet absorbs the grandeur of the manor.
Wait a moment.
Say, what is this godforsaken place anyway?
Oh, this? This is Body Manor. Cook!
Dinner will be ready shortly.
Thank you. Appetizers are in the lounge.
Hors d'oeuvres. Good. I'm starving.
Buddy, I haven't an appetite at all.
Wadsworth opens the door to the lounge, allowing them to enter.
Don't trip.
My, this really is a party.
Well, greetings all. It's a pleasure for you to see me. Ooh, cocktail.
There are so many of you, I didn't realize.
Good then. You're all here. Colonel Mustard.
Present.
Professor Plum.
Here.
Mrs. White. Yes. Mrs. Peacock.
How do you do?
Yes. Miss Scarlet. And Mr. Green.
That's me.
Yes. I'm Wadsworth, the butler. Tonight, as you may have surmised, no one is using their real names. A courtesy your host has provided you this evening to prevent you from revealing too much about yourselves. I suggest you follow his lead and refrain from telling anything too revealing.
Mr. Green spills champagne all over himself.
Right then, going.
Mr. Wadsworth, you were saying you never know when. What?
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 Never mind that.
Yvette has handed Mr. Green a fresh glass of champagne. Mr. Green spills his drink again.
Right. We really ought to get going. Cook can get cranky, and we shouldn't keep her waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, the dining hall is right this way. Careful now, nobody trip.
Scene 2, the dining room. They arrive to find a beautifully set table with 6 chairs.
You'll find your names by your seats. Please, be seated.
They take their places. Colonel Mustard next to Miss Scarlet, next to Mr. Green, next to Mrs. Peacock, next to Mrs. White, next to Professor Plum.
Wadsworth, this place here at the head of the table, is that for you?
Oh, no, sir. I'm merely a humble butler.
What exactly is it that you do, sir?
I butler, Colonel.
Dinner is served.
Thank you, Cook.
Yvette and Cook serve them soup.
All right then. What's all this about, brother? This dinner party.
I was not to reason why, I was but to do and die.
Die?
Merely quoting, sir, from Alfred Lord Tennyson.
I prefer Kipling myself.
Miss Scarlet offers a basket of dinner rolls to Colonel Mustard.
Do you like Kipling, Colonel?
Sure. I eat anything.
Yvette serves soup to Mrs. Peacock.
What's that smell? It's something familiar.
Shark fin soup.
Oh, my favorite. I know.
The cook and Mrs. Peacock exchange a sinister glance.
Bon appetit.
This is yummy. Oh, this is yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, this is delicious, isn't it? All right, I guess I'll break the ice. I'll be the one to get the ball rolling. I'm used to being a hostess. It's an integral part of my life as the wife of a... Oh, I forgot. We're not supposed to say who we really are, but oh well. I have no idea what we're doing here, but I'm very intrigued and... Oh my, the soup is delicious, isn't it?
I know who you are.
You do?
I work in Washington.
Washington? So, you must be a politician's wife, Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, I am. Who's your husband? Maybe I know him. Miss White, what does your husband do? Nothing.
Nothing?
Lies around on his back all day. Oh, how lazy.
I'm so sorry, I'm a bit clumsy.
Mr. Green, what do you do?
Oh, I'd rather not say. I like to follow the rules.
Well, if I wasn't trying to keep the conversation going, we would just be sitting here in an embarrassed silence.
Are you afraid of silence, Mrs. Peacock?
Yes. No. Why?
Well, in my professional opinion, it seems you suffer from what we call pressure of speech.
Is that an official diagnosis?
Are you a doctor, Professor?
In psychological medicine,
Do you practice?
not anymore. I currently work for the government.
Another politician.
Not exactly. I do research for the you-know-who.
Who?
The United Nations Organization, World Health Organization.
You, and then no, and then who. I get it. It's an acronym, see?
I have a sister who's a gymnast.
You are a real colonel, aren't you?
I am, sir.
Aren't you going to mention the coincidence that you also live in Washington, D.C., Colonel?
How do you know that?
Oh, I've seen you before.
So, Miss Scarlett, does this mean that you live in Washington too?
Sure do. Does anyone here not live in Washington?
They all look at each other, putting together the coincidence.
So then, is this about the Red Scare?
I'm not a communist, I'm a Republican.
Colonel Mustard stands fed up, addressing Wadsworth.
Wadsworth! We've had about enough of this. Who is our host and why have we been brought here?
Speak of the devil. That must be him now. I'll be right with you, sir.
Wadsworth exits.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Quickly, Miss Scarlet grabs her empty water glass and runs to the door. She places her ear against the glass against the door. They all follow suit, dumping the contents of their glasses, lining up single file behind Miss Scarlet, ears to glasses against the backs of the guests in front of them, as though they were able to hear through the glass, through the guest, through the door. We hear muffled voices from the hall. They talk on top of each other.
Acoustic coupling between the door and the glass allows sound waves to travel from one side to the other.
We hear Wadsworth's muffled voice from the hall.
All the guests have arrived as expected, sir. Yes, everything is going according to plan. We'll meet you in the study.
Wadsworth re-enters the dining room. He clears his throat, startling the chain of guests, causing a kerfluffle. They startle, surprised at his entrance, and try to cover their faux pas.
Oh, for goodness sake, Wadsworth. Who was at the door? I demand to know what's going on.
May I interest any of you in fruit or dessert?
No!
All right then. Instead, might I suggest that we adjourn to the study for coffee and brandy, at which point your newly arrived host will make himself known, the purpose of your letters will be revealed, and the game will be afoot. All right then, this way. Come on, hurry. Miss Peacock, elbows to the back.
Scene 3. The study. Yvette serves drinks from a bar cart.
Coffee? Brandy?
Thank you, Yvette. That will be all.
Oui, monsieur.
Yvette exits.
Well, where is our host?
He's not here. Nobody's here. What is happening?
Cigarette? It'll calm your nerves.
I don't smoke.
Mrs. Peacock pulls a flask out of her purse, takes a deep swig. Colonel Mustard finds a string and button enclosure envelope. The envelope reads "Confidential" in large red letters.
For Wadsworth. Open after dinner.
Wadsworth opens the envelope and reads it privately. Professor Plum tries to get a glance over his shoulder. Wadsworth blocks its efforts.
Hey, stop. Quit. Right then. Are you all comfortable?
Ooh, I make a good living.
Oh, out with it, Wadsworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, my instructions are clear.
Well, I'm glad something is.
It seems the 6 of you have all received the same letter.
They all reveal their letters. Wadsworth takes the letter from Professor Plum and reads from it.
It will be to your advantage to be present on this date, because a Mr. Body will be putting to an end a long-standing and painful financial liability.
That's what mine says.
It seems you all have one thing in common.
Tyrant McCarthy! We're all being blacklisted, aren't we?
Close, Colonel. You're all being blackmailed.
Oh, please. What's someone going to blackmail me for? I go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, lady, don't we all?
Does anyone else wish to deny it? No? All right then. For some considerable time now, you have all been paying more than you can afford to a mysterious ransomer who threatens to expose you. My task this evening is to expose your wrongdoings to one another and render you all culpable in another's indiscretions.
We hardly know each other.
Precisely. I'd love to spare you all the indiscretion, but I'm afraid I have no choice. We'll start with you, Professor Plum.
Ooh, this ought to be good.
It says here that you were once a practicing doctor of psychiatry, specializing in pathological lying lunatics suffering from delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, but now I work for the U.S. government.
So your work has not changed. But you can't practice medicine anymore, can you? Your license has been lifted, correct?
Why? What do you do?
Well, you know how male doctors aren't supposed to date their lady patients?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he did.
How awful. You know, someday there'll be a reckoning for men like you.
I hope so. Me too.
You're disgusting.
Are you the one to be making moral judgments, Mrs. Peacock? How then do you justify sending votes to certain lobbyists on Senator Peacock's behalf?
My husband is a paid consultant. There's nothing sinful about that.
Not if it's publicly declared. But if you were to slip cash under the stall door at Old Emmett's Bar and Grill, how would you describe that transaction?
I'd say it stinks.
When were you in that men's room?
So it's true.
No, it's a vicious lie.
But you've been paying our friend the blackmailer for over a year now to keep that story out to the papers. Seems a little sticky, no?
Well, see here.
I'm willing to believe you. I too am being blackmailed for something I did not do.
So am I.
Not me.
You're not being blackmailed?
Oh, I'm being blackmailed, all right. I just did what I'm being blackmailed for.
What did you do?
I run a non-governmental agency that handles classified affairs.
Affairs. In Washington.
So, Miss Scarlet, is that how you knew Colonel Mustard works in Washington? Was he having a classified affair?
Well, certainly not.
I was asking Miss Scarlet.
Well, you tell him, Mrs. Scarlet, it's not true.
It's not true.
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Aha! So it is true.
A double negative.
Double negative? You mean you have photographs?
I'm afraid that double negative has led to proof positive. You've given yourself away, Colonel.
Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests?
Oh, no. You don't need any help from me. It says here that you hold a important security position in the Pentagon. Those negatives would certainly compromise that position, wouldn't they?
In what position exactly were you caught in, Colonel?
This is an outrage.
Let's see. Who's next? Ha! Mrs. White. Your husband disappeared under, shall we say, mysterious circumstances.
Say what you like, I did not kill him.
So then why are you paying the black man?
Well, I don't want another scandal, do I?
Another.
We had a very humiliating public confrontation. He threatened to kill me in public.
Why would he want to kill you in public?
I think she means that he threatened in public to kill her.
It was all over the papers.
Yet he was the one who died. Not you, Miss White. Not you.
He was found dead at home, unclothed, and his head had been cut off. But it wasn't me. No, I had been out all evening at the movies.
A likely story.
But your second husband also disappeared.
Yes, well, that was his job. He was an illusionist, see?
He never reappeared.
Well, I didn't say he was a good illusionist.
I'd say that speaks for itself. And lastly, we have Mr. Green, who is a...
I don't need you to unmask me, Wadsworth. I know what you're going to say about me.
Oh? And what's that?
Mr. Green, who is a woman.
Well, not me.
I beg your pardon.
You asked, who is a woman? And I said, not me.
Mrs. Green and Wadsworth share a baffled moment. Really?
Thank you, Colonel. But there's more to it than that, Mrs. Green. There's evidence to support the question of your politics.
My politics? Since when is working for the Republican Party a crime?
That's it. You swore an oath to the Republican Party, yet failed to vote for Eisenhower in the last election. That's grounds for an ousting if ever there was one.
But voting records are confidential.
Everything has its price, Mrs. Green.
So there you have it. A crooked senator's wife, a lascivious doctor, and a disloyal Republican. Not exactly adhering to an all-American standard of behavior now, are we?
Depends on who you ask.
But if this Mr. Body fellow is such a noble civilian himself, then why doesn't he just report us to the authorities?
And give up on the chance to make a quick buck? Come now, Professor. What could be more American than that?
Ooh, apple pie.
All right, Wadsworth. So we're being blackmailed by a renegade McCarthyist. Where does that leave us?
Where is this Mr. Body?
What do you want from us?
Oh, please. I'm not waiting to find out. I have done nothing wrong. I'm leaving.
She charges to the door.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Peacock. You can stay in denial, but you cannot leave this house.
I am the wife of a great senator. You can't tell me what to do.
She's I'm getting out of here.
It's locked.
That's right. The doors are locked. The windows are barred, and the grounds are patrolled by vicious dogs. You cannot leave this house. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce your host for this evening and your blackmailer for life, Mr. Body.
Mr. Body appears in the study doorway with confident charm.
How do you do? Who do you think you are? I'll have you brought before Congress.
I thought millionaires were supposed to be good looking, you swine.
Boy, would I like to give you a piece of my mind. I don't even like confrontation.
Why are you blackmailing us? I'm frustrated that I find you attractive.
Bribing all of these good people? I don't get it. What's in it for you?
Such a typical man. Better off dead.
Mrs. White emerges to the front of the group and expertly knees Mr. Body in the groin.
Ooh, Mrs. White in the study with her knee.
Thank you. I studied martial arts.
They take a wary step away from Mrs. White.
There is one more piece of information you may all like to have.
What?
The police are coming in less than an hour.
The police?
Unless
what?
Mr. Body refers to his briefcase.
Unless you agree to double down. And why would we agree to that?
you don't, I'll place this briefcase containing all the evidence needed to expose your wrongdoings and place it in the hands of the police, the press, and the House Un-American Committee. With the right spin, those fellows can make a comedy out of anyone. I suspect some of you would spend a lifetime in jail, others a lifetime of shame.
You scoundrel.
That's why we brought us here.
Unless what?
Well, there is something you could do for me. Something I just haven't been able to prepare to do myself. Something that would change the game. What? Everyone, take a seat, please.
2 steps ahead.
Is it all right if I sit here?
Before he can get a word out, Mr. Green sits on the edge of the table, which surprisingly collapses.
Good heavens.
Mr. Body, what's all this about, sir?
Here we have 6 packages I thought our guests might find useful this evening.
Packages?
Gifts, if you will. I'm a generous sort of fellow.
Are you?
Wadsworth, please see to it that each guest receives a gift.
Yes, of course. All right then. They're all color-coded, I think.
Wadsworth moves to distribute the gifts.
Anyone want to guess what's in their box?
Perfume,
Candy.
a rare single malt Scotch whiskey.
Aren't guessing games fun?
No.
Please, open them.
Miss Scarlet opens her box. Puzzled, she lifts out a heavy brass candlestick. She looks at Mr. Body.
A candlestick? What's this for?
One by one, each of the guests opens their boxes, pulling out their gift.
A wrench.
A lead pipe?
A dagger.
A revolver.
No worries, everyone. Just a roach.
In each of your hands, you hold a lethal weapon. You all came here tonight because you believe the evidence was so terrible, you'd do anything to keep it a secret. I'm putting that theory to the test.
You are?
Wadsworth here is the only other person who knows of your wrongdoings, and its cost you called dearly. Why?
What do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't have to increase your blackmail if we didn't have to pay Wadsworth here for his silence.
Wadsworth?
He may look suave and charming,
Thank you.
but he's really conniving and manipulative.
That's a lie.
Why do you think he's called the police?
You called the police?
Only because he told me to.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can manage to get rid of Mr. Wadsworth here, then I'll have no need to double your blackmail or expose you to the police.
Get rid of?
Does he mean kill him?
In fact, if you can eliminate Wadsworth,
Yes, I think that's what he means.
then I can get rid of your blackmail altogether and be done with this terrible business once and for all.
No. You would never.
But why make us do it? Why don't you do your dirty work for yourself?
Yeah.
Why should I when 6 of you are so uniquely motivated and armed?
What a patriot.
After all I've done for you. Come on, guys, don't listen to him. I'm not with him. I'm one of you. I'm not a butler. I'm an indentured servant.
A familiar refrain. Come now, Wadsworth.
No.
It's over.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is your chance. The police are on their way. The only way for you to avoid finding yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now.
He switches off the lights. The lights are switched back on. Mr. Body lies on the floor, prone, face down. Everyone else remains as they were.
Mr. Body.
Oh, thank goodness.
Is he breathing?
Stand back. I'm the doctor. He's dead.
Who had the gun?
I did.
So you killed him?
I did not.
Well, if you didn't, then who did?
Somebody grabbed the gun from my hand. And the next thing I knew, there was a shot.
Walter turns Mr. Body over.
Well, there's no gunshot wound.
He's right, there isn't.
Look! There's a bullet lodged here in the wall.
Eagle eye, Miss Scarlet.
Okay, but if the bullet hole's over there, then how did he die right here?
I don't know. I'm not a forensic expert.
Something else must have killed him.
One of us must have killed him.
They all look at each other and their weapons, nervously aware that a murderer is present amongst them.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't do it.
Unable to find a journalist, goes to Mr. Body's body, who is still holding a glass. She pries the cup from Mr. Body's dead hand, raises it to her lips, and downs it just as...
There's a perfectly fine bottle of champagne right there. You don't need to... Why would you...
Maybe Mr. Body was poisoned by that brandy.
Mrs. Peacock spits out the brandy all over Mr. Body.
Okay, all right, there, Miss Peacock. It's all right.
Whoa.
Breathe
I don't think it was poison. I said that out myself. I didn't poison it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Miss Scarlet takes over, pushing Mr. Green out of the way. She slaps Mrs. Peacock, who falls off the sofa. Silence.
Why would you do that?
What is wrong with you?
What? Someone had to stop her screaming.
Screaming? She was hyperventilating.
Was the brandy poison, Miss Green?
How should I know?
Looks like we'll never know.
Unless she dies too.
They all hurry over to the sofa and stare at Mrs. Peacock.
What was that? Oh! The screams. The screams! They're coming from the billiard room! Come on, let's go! Go! Let's move! Actually, 5 feet back. I don't trust you. Come on!
The guests rush out. Mr. Green has the lead pipe in her hand. They move outside the billiard room. Scene 4. The hall outside the billiard room. Yvette's screams are louder as Wadsworth and the guests, except Mrs. Peacock, arrive at the door of the billiard room. Wadsworth tries the handle.
Who's in there? Are you all right? Yvette? Yvette, are you okay?
No!
Yvette, are you alive?
Of course I'm alive, you idiot! No thanks to you, Wadsworth. I am locked up in this house with a murderer. Where? Here! We are all looking at him!
Mrs. Peacock enters, out of breath.
Well, which him? There's 3 of us here. Or do you mean Mrs...
Her?
What took you so long?
I am an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. It's amazing I'm anyone.
Okay.
I heard you all in this study. One of you is the killer.
How did you hear us in this study?
I was listening, of course. I have a tape recorder in the billiard room connected with the study. Monsieur Bardmy asked me to record your conversation.
Why would he ask you to do that?
For more evidence, of course. Wadsworth revealed your secrets in the study, and now they are recorded.
What a snake. Where are the tapes? I've got to destroy them.
Who cares about the tapes? What about the bodies?
What body?
Mr. Body's body.
Yvette, why are you screaming in here all by yourself?
Yes.
I was frightened, of course. I too drank the cognac. I might have been poisoned too. Plus, Monsieur Body is dead, and one of you is the killer.
Well, we have to figure out which one of them did it.
Whoa!
Well, what do you mean, which one of them?
Well, I didn't do it.
Okay, well, one of you did, okay? I would have, but I didn't have the weapon.
Well, don't look at me. All I got was a candlestick.
No one was looking at you.
Maybe it wasn't one of us.
Who else could it have been?
Who else is in this house? Only the cook?
The cook! All right, come on, the kitchen is over here. Let's go. Look, it's always in the kitchen.
Scene 5. The kitchen. They enter the kitchen. There is a large refrigerator. Mrs. Green no longer has the lead pipe. They look for the cook.
As far as I can tell, the cook's not here.
What a lovely kitchen. You know, I had a kitchen very similar to this in my...
Oh, did you? Was it a brownstone?
Yes, my first brownstone.
Oh, yes, I love them.
It has such a homey feel.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As she reminisces, Mrs. Green trips, accidentally causing her refrigerator door to open. The cook's body, dagger in her back, tumbles onto a quite unsuspecting Mrs. Green.
Someone must have killed her.
Okay, that makes 2 murders.
I hate murders.
I think you'd better explain yourself, Wadsworth.
Whoa, me?
Yes, you. Who else would want to kill the cook?
Why would I?
Dinner wasn't that bad.
How can you make jokes at a time like this?
It's my defense mechanism.
Some defense. If I were the killer, I'd kill you now. I said if.
That's pretty
Besides, there's only one admitted killer here, and it's not me. It's Mrs. White.
It's nothing.
You've paid the blackmail. How many husbands have you had?
9 or other women.
Goodness. Yours?
5.
5?
Yes, just the 5. Husband should be like Kleenex. Soft, strong, disposable.
Well, if it wasn't you, then who was it? Who had the dagger?
It was Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, but I put it down.
Where?
In the study. Any one of us could have picked it up.
I didn't pick it up. Why would I do that?
Maybe you put it on his back.
It was Miss Green.
What?
Can someone please help me?
Good Lord, help her up! Go! Just get the course over.
You really got to learn to speak up for yourself better.
I'm sweating.
Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum lift the cook's body
What?
off the
Lift it up!
Mrs. Green gets up.
Oh my lord!
Wadsworth steps over Mrs. Green and pulls away.
Gentlemen, might I suggest that we move the cook's body to the study? Well, hey! Oh!
Wadsworth hoists the cook out of Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum's arms and onto his back.
Well, first of all, if the police arrive and they find us with...
Wadsworth dumps the cook's body off his back and into the arms of Mrs. Green and Miss Scarlet.
We'll all be suspicious and under custody for murder. And second of all, I'm the butler. I like to keep the kitchen tidy.
They heave-ho, grumbling as they do, and carry the cook's body from the kitchen back to the study. Scene 6. The study. The guests, except Wadsworth, enter the study. They stop and slowly look back to the spot where Mr. Body was.
The body's gone.
They freeze. They drop the cook's body onto the ground with a thud. Just then, Wadsworth enters.
What's the matter? You all seem rather surprised. What are we all staring at?
Nobody.
Nobody? The body's right there. What do you mean?
Nobody.
No.
No body.
No. Yeah?
No body. Mr. Body's body.
Mr. Oh! Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
Maybe he wasn't really dead.
He was.
You should have made sure.
Thought I had.
So was he dead or wasn't he?
Okay, maybe he was dead, right? But someone moved him.
Who would move him and why? How should I know?
Well, if he's not here, then where is he?
Sir, girls. Oui, madame, there's a toilet just outside Civilian room. Oui, madame.
Mrs. Peacock exits.
All right. Not to alarm anybody, but we do currently have the issue of 2 dead bodies, one present, one missing, and the imminent arrival of the police.
The bridge is washed out. That should buy us some extra time.
Okay.
Time? But I don't want extra time. I want the police to arrive because I'm locked up in this house with the murderer.
But once the police get here, the rest of us are doomed.
Wadsworth, am I right in thinking that there's no one else in this house?
No.
So there is someone else in this house.
Sorry. I said no, meaning yes.
No meaning yes.
Yes.
Wadsworth, is there someone else in this house, yes or no?
Wadsworth considers this carefully. Then,
No.
No there is or no there isn't?
Yes.
There seems to be some confusion about whether or not there's anyone else in this house.
There isn't.
There isn't any confusion or there isn't anyone else.
Either. Both, actually.
Just give me a clear answer.
What was the question again?
Is there anyone else in this house?
No!
That's what he says, but does he
We've got a killer, missing dead body of Mr. Body, and cut the dagger for that, and all these very easily accessible weapons.
Okay.
The rope, the revolver, the candlestick, the wrench, and where is the lead pipe?
Didn't you have that?
Mrs. Peacock stumbles back into the room, with Mr. Body hanging all over her. It looks like Mr. Body is attacking her.
He's attacking her!
The bloody Mr. Body falls off of her and onto the ground. The lead pipe protrudes from his skull.
He's so bloody!
Stand back. He's dead.
That's what we said the last time.
I believe in second chances.
Mr. Body. Dead. Again. Oh, I'll catch you.
Mrs. Peacock collapses in Wadsworth's arms. He releases her as she falls back with a thud.
Sorry.
Miss Peacock? Yes.
Where did this happen?
In the bathroom. I walked in, and there he was. First, I thought he was attacking me. But then I realized he had been left propped up against the door frame. Dead! Just waiting to fall on someone.
She reveals a tiny bottle of booze from her cleavage and downs it.
What? You had that in there?
Who would do such a thing?
Takes a lot of guts to kill someone twice.
Well, you call overkill.
But why?
What's the difference?
Makes a difference to him.
It makes a difference to us. We've got to find out who killed him, where, and with what.
Oh, well, it seems to me like it was probably the lead pipe.
10 points, Professor Plum!
What kind of game are you playing, Wadsworth?
Game? This isn't a game.
You. The lead pipe belonged to you.
Okay, yes, but I dropped it while I was running to the kitchen.
People don't just drop murder weapons.
I didn't know it was a murder weapon when I dropped it.
So anyone could have picked it up.
Yes, of course. But who did? Who did pick up the lead pipe, brutally murdering Mr. Body with it and leaving him bludgeoned in the bathroom? Who did that? Which one of you? Who?
Pull it, Butler. While you're losing your marbles, I'm over here trying to do something useful. Have you all forgotten about the evidence against us?
The evidence.
Evidence.
They move toward Miss Scarlet. Miss Scarlet tries to open Mr. Body's briefcase.
It's locked. There must be.
Mrs. Green, would you be so kind as to search Mr. Body's corpse for the key to the briefcase so that we may find the evidence stacked against us and destroy it?
Why me?
Why not?
All right.
Mrs. Green pulls out a latex glove, putting it on.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, well, I don't really like germs.
Or fingerprints?
No, really, it's mostly just germs.
Mrs. Green searches Mr. Body's pocket, gagging and holding back vomit.
It's so warm.
Yeah, okay. All people are.
It's disgusting.
Would you rather it be cold?
There's blood.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
You've got a glove.
I'm working on it. Aha!
What's got there?
You get it?
She rushes over to Miss Scarlet, who opens the briefcase.
Come on! Had the evidence in his briefcase, my foot!
Well, we have to find it and destroy it.
Evidence against this side. First things first. We're in a room with 2 dead bodies.
And the corpses are on their way.
Right, yeah. Let's move the corpses so that they look less dead.
Great. So this is turning out to be...
Alright.
Careful! Don't get guts on the ground.
Yvette and Mrs. Green drag the cook, while Professor Plum drags Mr. Body.
Solid battlefield technique, Professor Plum. Never leave men behind.
Daggers are heavier than you think, aren't they?
I wouldn't know.
Alright.
What's your deal?
There, now they're all proper. I'm soft. Strong and fair.
Hey,
Mrs. Peacock drinks from a flask.
Pop him up. Break it from your flask. I'll do this. Flask.
Oh, forget about the body.
No?
We have to do something about this room full of murder weapons and a homicidal maniac on the loose.
Actually, that's fair. I've got an idea. Let's put the weapons in the safe.
Terrific. Where's the safe?
Right. It is in the hall. Give me that. Let's go. Can I have that key, please? Thank you. Right this way.
Scene 7. The
Yvette.
hall. They arrive and Wadsworth tinkers with the bottom of a large framed portrait.
I don't see a safe.
Just give me a second.
Is that an original Trumbull, Mr. Wadsworth?
Those are quite valuable. Now is not the time for art appreciation. Butler.
Before Mrs. Peacock can finish her thought, Wadsworth opens the painting on the wall to reveal the safe. Wadsworth throws the weapons and locks the painting.
Hidden safe behind a portrait? How original!
And then locked.
Voila!
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do with the keys, Wadsworth?
Oh, good question. I will just put them in my pocket.
But what if you are the murderer?
I'm not.
But what if you are?
I'm not. But since you're so paranoid, I say that we'll throw the key outside.
Oui, à l'extérieur.
But it's raining. Alex, dear.
Okay. I'm not suggesting we go outside. I'll open the door and throw the key outside.
So you're gonna have to open the door.
Yes, I said that.
But what if the killer is outside?
Better out than in.
Yeah, but we'd want to keep him outside, wouldn't we? If we open the door, we risk letting him back in.
Or if we open the door, we encourage him to go out.
The killer seems to be doing a fine job of opening and closing the door all by himself.
Yeah.
I don't see how us opening the door for one tiny second could possibly make any sort of a difference.
Agreed.
Oh, but what if we open the door, throw out the keys, and then the killer catches them? Then the killer would have the keys that we're trying to confiscate.
I think we may be overthinking this.
We are not.
I'm going to throw away the key. Follow me.
Scene 8. The front door. Wadsworth leads Yvette and the guest towards the front door. He opens the door to throw away the safe key. But shockingly, a motorist stands at the door, poised to knock.
Not now.
Wadsworth slams the door in the motorist's face. The guests are breathless with fear.
Was that the killer?
You look like a killer.
That's true.
Leave him to me. Interrogation is my specialty.
Colonel Mustard opens the door.
Good evening.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb the whole household, but my car broke down outside and I was wondering if I could use your phone.
Are you a killer?
What now?
Alright, this way, please.
Thank you. Well, where is it?
What, bodies?
Oh, the phone. What body?
Bodies? What bodies? There's no body.
Ooh, yes, there's no bodies in the study.
Colonel Mustard inadvertently has pointed to the study. The motorist starts walking towards it.
That was a
Everyone
blatant
knew.
lie. There is somebody in the study, actually, but I think there is a phone in the lounge that's easily accessible and free to use. Yes, right this way, to the lounge. It's right here.
Wadsworth brings the motorist to the door of the lounge.
Right through here, ma'am. Yes.
Wadsworth opens the door, lets the motorist in, then closes and locks the door.
Listen. All right. I've locked him in the lounge. Now, listen. Our task is twofold. 1, find the evidence. 2, find the murderer.
We've got one potential suspect contained in the lounge, but that leaves the whole rest of this place up for grabs. Who knows what's behind all these doors?
I do.
I propose that we handle this in a proper military fashion. We should split up and search the house.
Split up?
Yes, that way none of us will have to be alone.
So, we're gonna split up into pairs? If we split up into pairs,
yes,
whoever is paired with the killer might get killed.
That's true. Yes, but then we will discover who the murderer is.
But the other half of the pair would be dead.
This is war, Mrs. Peacock. Casualties are inevitable. You cannot make an omelet without breaking any eggs. Every cook will tell you that.
But look what happened to the cook.
Colonel, are you willing to take that chance?
What choice do we have?
None.
All right, troops. Divide and conquer. I'll go ahead and split us into our pairs. Eeny, meeny, miny.
No. Mrs. White, you're with me. Professor Plum, you go with Mrs. Peacock. Yvette, you stay with Mrs. Green, and Miss Scarlet, you're with Eeny Meeny.
But what if one of us doesn't come back?
Then we'll remember you fondly. Now, search this whole house. Leave no door unopened. And cherish your partner. This may be the last person that you ever see.
Scene 9. The hall.
Go on. I'll be right behind you.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm worried about.
Why? It's just us. We're alone.
That's quite it, Mrs. White. No man in his right mind would ever be alone in a room with you.
Fine. You go in there, and I will go in here.
All right.
They go to 2 doors, but don't go in.
Are you going in?
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
All right then. On 3. 1, 3.
Wadsworth and Mrs. White enter and exit their respective rooms abruptly.
Nothing in that room.
Nothing in that room either.
Shall we search the ballroom?
All right. After you this time.
Focus shifts to Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum in the library.
This is quite an impressive library.
Mrs. Peacock pulls a book off the bookshelf, triggering an elaborate FBI-style panel labeled Evidence, plastered with headshots and notes detailing the guests' crimes, to flip and appear in the wall directly behind them. They do not see it.
How am I supposed to find anything if I don't know what I'm looking for?
Civilized society is perpetually menaced with disintegration through this primary hostility of men towards one another.
Your fancy words don't intimidate me, Professor.
I take no credit. Freud. I think he's onto something.
Now is not the time for academic pursuits. We need to find the evidence.
It's a fruitless search, if you ask me. I mean, it's not like we're just going to walk into a room and find the evidence plastered on a wall.
Well, I suppose you're right.
They exit the library. The guests crisscross once more. There is an unexpected split-second connection between Yvette and Wadsworth. We move to the lounge and find a motorist on the phone.
I'm a little nervous. I'm at that big house on the hill. And they've locked me in the lounge. I think they're having some sort of event. There's a lot of people here. And the funny thing is, I think one of them is one of my customers.
As she is talking, a gloved hand appears behind her with a raised wrench.
Yeah, my regular Tuesday night passenger.
The wrench comes down on the motorist's head. Scene 10, the observatory. Colonel Mustard searches the observatory floor. Miss Scarlet enters slyly, holding Professor Plum's pipe.
Oh, there you are.
You'll never believe what I found in the hallway just now. Professor Plum's stupid tobacco pipe.
What do you think it means?
Who knows? But it seems suspicious if you ask me.
I just did.
Honestly, Colonel, this is the last room left to search in this beastly mansion, and we still haven't found the evidence.
I think this time has been productive, nevertheless.
Aren't you a Pollyanna?
You're a brave and determined lady, Miss Scarlet. I hope that after this expedition ends, we can remain friends. I mean, really, murders aside, it's been a really wonderful group of people, all in all. I mean, I do suppose I would like to hear Miss White's explanation for how she lost her veil in the billiard room, but...
Miss Scarlet grabs the veil.
You found Mrs. White's veil in the billiard room? Odd.
Odd?
Odd.
Colonel Mustard accidentally leans on the wall sconce, which moves like a lever. A trap door in the floor opens.
A trap door! It must lead to the secret passage. Come on.
Ladies first.
How heroic.
Miss Scarlet steps into the passage. Colonel Mustard follows her.
Mrs. White, how many times we've met so far, I wouldn't be too surprised to hear that you're following me. Are you really drinking at this time? You know, drunk people make mistakes, Mrs. White. We can't afford any more mistakes. Put it down. Anyway, what did I say? I know all the rooms, but...
Scene 11,
things are changing.
the lounge. Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard climb out of the secret passage.
How should I know? The lights are off.
Turn them on.
I would if I could see anything.
Well, I'm going to feel my way. Table.
A telephone.
Chair.
A body.
A body!
Find the door!
Get me out of here!
They find the door, but the door is locked.
Help! Help! Murder! Murder!
The guests run to the lounge.
Let us in! Let us in! Let us out! Let us out!
We can't let you out! The door to the lounge is locked!
You have the key, Wadsworth! You locked the motorist in here!
That's right! I did! I do! No, I don't! The keys are gone!
Gone? Please, there's a murder on the loose! Please get us out of here!
Yvette runs off.
Help us, please!
Professor Plum walks back from the door at his most macho.
There's no alternative. I'm just going to have to break down the door.
What?
Stand back. I'm a doctor.
Whoa.
Suddenly, Yvette runs holding a gun.
Stand back! I am a woman!
Professor Plum backs into Yvette. Their crash causes her gun to go off, firing upwards. The chandelier falls from above, pinning Mrs. Green beneath it.
No, not again!
Mrs. Green rolls out from beneath the chandelier, which nearly crushed her.
What's going on in there? Will you guys get us out of here? I need to help you.
Yvette, still determined to save the day, points the gun at the lounge door. With surprising expertise, she fires the gun twice at the lock.
I am done shooting at you now. The door is open.
Why were you shooting at us?
To open the door.
But you could have killed us.
I said stand back.
Let's add finding the keys to the lounge to our priority list.
Say, Frenchie, where'd you get that gun anyways?
The safe, it was unlocked.
Unlocked? Impossible. I have the key.
He checks his pocket.
Never mind. No, I don't. It's gone.
Gone.
Yes, gone.
Not to beat a dead horse, but I do feel like having all of the keys is
I thought you said you'd throw away the key to the safe once.
Okay. I did. I did say that. But I didn't do that, all right? Okay, listen. We got distracted by the motorist at the door, and I forgot. I got frightened. One of you must have taken the keys from my coat pocket while we were searching the house.
So whoever took the keys is the killer.
Precisely.
Speaking of the killer, there's a dead body, you know. Morris is dead.
Miss Scarlet checks her pulse.
Well, which one of you killed him?
We found him together.
And he was already dead.
But the door to the lounge was locked.
We went through a secret passage we found in the observatory.
A secret passage? Who designed this place?
The Parker. Oh, never mind.
They wait and hope.
Wait! I don't think it's the police. Oh, that's it.
I'm going to open the door.
No.
It's the decent thing to do.
Mrs. Green goes to open the front door. A cop stands there.
Evening, officer. How do you do?
Got checked by a band car near the gates of his house. Did a motor stop out for any help by any chance?
Yes.
There seems to be some disagreement about that. Any way can I come in and use the phone?
No. Of course you may, sir. There's a phone in the lounge.
Out of order.
Right. My mistake. You can use the phone in the study.
You know, officer, actually, I think there is a phone in the library that you can use right this way.
They're all acting rather peculiar.
You see, officer, that's because our chandelier fell down. Yes, it was very special, and it could have killed us. But it didn't. No one died, and the maid will clean it up.
That's all well and good, but what's going on in the lounge?
You know, lounging, studying, right this way.
Let me take a look.
No, thank you.
What?
No, actually. What? Nothing. The library's over here.
Actually, I'd like to take a peek if you don't mind.
All right, officer. Peek indeed. In fact, let's just check the whole place out. I'm going to take you on a grand tour on the whole of Body Manor, right this way.
The guests huddle up, quietly whispering together to come up with a plan, while Yvette uses the police system by the front door to raise the chandelier back into position.
Body Manor was built in 1778 when Lord Body...
We've got to for our hearts and get rid of this guy.
Lord Body was named Lord Body after somebody discovered an antibody that saves everybody.
Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, Colonel Mustard, and Yvette head to the study, where Mr. Bodies and the cook's bodies remain. Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, and Mrs. Green head to the lounge, where the motorist's body remains.
Notice the mahogany floors. You know, John Esquemling recorded the use of mahogany in 1763 for the use of making canoes. Can you canoe?
What?
Never mind. Through here. Notice the brass doorknobs. See, these doorknobs were handcrafted specifically for Lord Body in...
I don't care about doorknobs, mister. What's happening here? What is going on in those 2 rooms?
Which 2 rooms?
The lounge and the study.
Ah, yes. Those two. Nothing is going on in those 2 rooms.
The cop approaches the study door. Wadsworth blocks his path.
No, officer, I'm afraid you can't go in there.
Why not?
Oh, it's just all too shocking.
The cop shoves Wadsworth aside and enters the study. The guests puppeteer the dead bodies of Mr. Body and the cook, so they appear to be alive.
Hello, officer. Welcome to the party. Excuse me.
Yvette Dustin.
You are excused. Pardon me.
The cop moves to exit.
Good night, officer.
Night. Slam. The cop retreats from the study, back into the main hall with Wadsworth.
Well, that's a lot of talking, mister. Why didn't you tell me there was a party going on?
My apologies, officer.
Just let me take you to the lounge.
Okay.
The cop opens the door to the lounge. The dead motorist, an alcohol bottle in hand, appears to be drunk rather than dead. He is propped up in a chair by Mrs. Green, who shares the chair with him, also pretending to be drunk.
Excuse me. Oh, evening, officer. How do you do?
These men drunk?
10 drunk.
Mrs. Green offers the cop booze from Mr. Body's limp hand, splashing booze everywhere.
What is it?
No, ma'am, I can't drink on the job. The chief killed me.
And well, killed you, don't.
What?
Huh?
Have a lovely evening, officer.
Same to you.
The cop shuts the door.
Well?
Officer, I can say...
No need. There's nothing illegal about any of this.
Oh, there's not?
Well, this is America. That was the pursuit of happiness. That phone?
All right, yes, of course, officer. Right this
Wadsworth
way.
leads the cop to the library.
Here's the library. Tell me if you need anything. Don't mind that art project. Leave you to it.
Thank you.
Wadsworth closes and locks the door behind him. Then,
Charlie, you can come out now. Come on. Great job.
all the guests emerge into the hall, congratulating themselves.
Okay. All right. Listen up. I've locked him in the library.
How'd you do that? I thought you didn't have the keys.
I didn't have my right pocket keys. My left pocket keys are still intact. Now, we need to finish searching the house, and we can't afford any more murders. The police are on their way.
The police already came.
Not the broken down car police, the criminal investigation police.
Precisely. Like I said, we need to finish searching the house. We can't afford any more murders. This is getting dangerous. Go. Now go. Move. We're supposed to be... Yes, go.
The guests disperse to search the house. Scene 12. The library and billiard room. The cop dials the phone.
Hello? Hello?
The lights go out.
Power outage. Must be the storm. Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Hello, Hello? Who turned out the lights? Hello?
She sees someone in the doorway.
You frightened me. I thought you was the killer.
Hello? Yes, Chief, this is... Hello?
Where are you? Oh, did you find another clue?
A gloved hand holding a rope emerges from behind the bed. A noose flies over her neck. She struggles.
Hello? Chief, yes, Chief. I got this tip about a banned car near the gates of this big old mansion, and the power just went out, and I'm telling you, Chief, there's something funny going on.
A gloved hand holding a candlestick emerges from a trap door in the bookshelf.
And there's some kind of party going on, and you'll never believe who I just saw. Psst.
The cop turns around at the sound. The candlestick descends on the cop. Scene 13. The hall.
Dark. Who turned up the lights? Just 1 second. Just 1 moment. Don't trip on anything. I'm trying to sort the lights out, but it's This is the right breaker, I believe.
Let there be light. Do you hear that? Sounds like a telephone is off the hook.
What?
It's coming from the library.
That's where the killer must be.
I'm going in.
No! Aren't you afraid?
Yes, of course.
Of what? A fate worse than death?
No, just regular death. Come on.
Wadsworth, followed by the guest, goes to the library door. He unlocks it. The cop sits, head down.
Officer, sir, are you all right? Your shoe seems to have come off. Do you need anything? A phone book, perhaps? Just...
Hey, listen, Copper. The butler asked you a question.
Yeah.
Now hang up the phone or I will.
He doesn't move. Mrs. Peacock slams the phone down. She pulls the cop's body back, revealing a bloody candlestick protruding from his head.
Come on.
Morbidly.
Oh, come on now. Wait. Hold on.
The guests hysterically run until they arrive and settle in the billiard room.
Guys, we all knew it was going to happen, right? It's like the 5th one. How many people can die in one night before you start to get desensitized? Calm down now. We should be safe here in the billiard room.
You feel safe? I can't relax.
How about a round of pool to pass the time?
Sure, yeah, whatever calms you all down. I feel like you're overreacting. You can't
They
get
all
sloppy
open the door
or make
and
mistakes.
reveal Yvette's splayed body, strangled, the body hanging off the table. The guests run to the hall. The front door opens on its own. A cute, perky, singing telegram girl tap dances in the doorframe. The young woman falls dead in the doorway. Scene 14, the conclusion. They collectively take a deep breath. They are eerily calm.
Three murders in 3 minutes.
That's our best record.
3 murders.
6 altogether.
The cook, Mr. Body, the motorist, the cop, Yvette, and the singing telegram girl? But who is the murderer? Ain't that the million-dollar question?
Sometimes the answer is right under our noses. And I find the best way to locate it is to retrace our steps. The evening began like this. There was thunder, lightning, and the dogs barked. Ding dong! Colonel Mustard. Ding dong! Mrs. White, who noticed Yvette, and Mrs. Peacock, who noticed the cook. Then, Mr. Green, sit! Then, Professor Plum and Miss Scarlet. And then we all went to the lounge. Yes. Well, that was more like a cocktail minute, at which point we all went to the dining room. Excuse me. Okay. Shark fin soup. Yummy, 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 yummy. After that, we all came to the study. Coffee, brandy. Who is this Mr. Body, fellow butler? How do you do? Then Mr. Body asked me to hand out packages. Ah! A snake! At that point, Mr. Body switched out the lights. Now!
He switches off the lights. Lights up. Wadsworth lies dead on the floor.
Mr. Body was dead. Not really, but we didn't know that at the time. Then Mrs. Peacock drank from his drink.
He drinks from Mrs. Peacock's flask and spits all over the guest.
Poison! At which point we heard more screaming in the form of from the billiard room. Go. Billiard room, going. Move, go. Jeez, gosh. There. But Mrs. Peacock arrived late. I'm an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. It's a miracle I'm anywhere. Then Mrs. White asked, is there anyone else in this house? To which we all replied, the cook. Kitchen. Okay. Then we arrived in the kitchen where we found the cook knifed in the back.
He mimes stabbing her, then imitates the cook falling out of the freezer onto Mrs. Green.
Oh, blood germs, so gross. Somebody please help me up. At which point, I suggested that we take the cook's body into the study. So, we all came to the study, but Mr. Body's body was gone. Was gone until Mrs. Peacock stumbled in, wearing the corpse on her body, because someone had bludgeoned Mr. Body in the bean and left him in the bathroom. That is when the motorist arrived. This way. And Colonel Mustard said, are you a killer? At which point, I took the motorist and locked him in the, lounge.
He fake kills Mrs. Green, all of the motorist, with a mimed wrench to the head. Mrs. Green drops dead, all of the motorist.
Dead!
He moves to the front door.
Then, that's when the unexpected cop showed up. You're all acting rather peculiar. Can you canoe?
He fake kills Professor Plum with a mimed candlestick to the head. Professor Plum drops dead, all of the cop.
At which point, we found the maid strangled dead in the hall.
He fake strangles Miss Scarlet with a mimed rope. Miss Scarlet drops dead, a la Yvette.
Dead, which brings us to... I am bang! Ah! And scene.
Bravo! Bravo! But what does it prove?
Nothing.
Enough of this! I know who the murderer is.
You do?
I do.
All right then, Miss Scarlet. We listen. Who do you accuse?
Miss Scarlet reveals Professor Plum's pipe, pointing at Professor Plum.
It was Professor Plum in the hallway with the revolver.
Liar!
We all heard the gun go off, Professor. And I found your stupid tobacco pipe when we were searching the house. When'd you drop it, huh? Scoping out the best vantage point to kill your next victim? I bet that poor singing telegram girl was a location of yours or something, right?
I had never seen that girl in my life, and it wasn't me.
Well, the gun is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the gun is the murderer.
They all do so. Professor Plum pulls out the revolver with a grunt. He points it at Wadsworth.
Oh my gosh.
You won't be able to prove anything if you're all dead.
That may be true, Professor Plum, but if we're alive...
Wadsworth opens the door. The chief of police and his backup cop enter, guns and badges revealed, stepping over the dead, singing Telegram Girl on their way.
There's your man, officers.
Well done, Wadsworth. That's what I say. Yes, well, I'm saying it now. I'm Pink Cups, chief of police. Professor Plum, you're coming with us.
That's not how it happened. It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
All right then, Professor Plum. Who do you accuse?
It was Colonel Mustard in the lounge with the wrench.
I never lounge.
I found your metal rod in the lounge where the motorist was killed by a wrench to the head. And that wrench belonged to you.
Well, that's a lie.
Well, the wrench is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has that wrench is the murderer.
They all do. Colonel Mustard pulls out the wrench with a threatening grunt. Cops enter, guns and badges revealed.
Well done, Wadsworth.
That's what I said.
Yes, well, I'm saying it now. I'm guilty verdict, chief of police.
There's your man, officer. Not a kernel of truth in him.
You're coming with us.
Well, that's not how it happened. It really happened like this.
They return to their positions.
All right then, Colonel Mustard. Who do you accuse?
It was Mrs. White in the billiard room with the rope.
I rather die.
Oh. I found your veil in the billiard room, and we all saw how you cringed when Yvette served you dinner.
Yes, it's true. I knew Yvette. She had a torrid love affair with my late husband. I hated her. I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breaths. But just because I hated her does not mean I killed her.
Well, the rope is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies,
Mrs.
empty...
White pulls out the rope with a yelp. They gasp as she waves it threateningly.
That's right.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Thank you.
Cops burst in.
Well done, Wadsworth.
That's what I said.
Yes, well, I'm saying it now. I'm Mark Words, chief of police. Mrs. White, you're coming with us.
It's not how it happened.
They return to their positions.
All right, Miss White. Who do you accuse?
It was Miss Peacock in the kitchen with the dagger. I found her feather by the corpse.
Well, the dagger is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your purses. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the dagger. Oh my gosh!
That's what I said. Yes, what I'm saying now. I'm Barry D. Hatchett, Chief of Police.
Well, that's not how it happened. It happened like this.
They returned to their positions.
Gosh. We're listening. Mrs. Peacock, who do you accuse?
It was Miss Scarlet in the library with her candlestick.
Yes.
Maximo, Chief of Police. You can't do this to me.
Frankly, Miss Scarlet, I don't give a darn. But that's not how it happened. It really happened like this.
They do one final, irritated, lackluster rewind.
I know who the murderer is.
You do?
Indeed. It's all of you! Freeze! You're all murderers. Every last one of you.
You can't prove anything, Mr. Wadsworth.
I'm not Wadsworth. I'm Mr. Body.
If you were Mr. Body, then... Well, you can't be. He bled all over me.
It wasn't Mr. Body who was bleeding.
Wait, if Mr. Body wasn't Mr. Body, then who was he?
He was Wadsworth, my butler.
But if you're the real Mr. Body, then what was your whole point of dragging this all out?
Well, when you started murdering people, I decided to roll the dice. See if you'd kill off my entire network of spies and informers. Which you did, beautifully, might I add, leaving your fingerprints on every glass, doorknob, and dead body in this whole manor. And now I've got you all under custody and on the hook for murder.
Murder?
Well, bribery for petty crimes is one thing, but murder? Now that can get expensive.
Why this whole charade? The searching of the house and the madness of retracing our steps.
Well, it's all a part of the game, you see?
Game?
Yeah, I'm relaxed now. Now that you've killed everyone off, I've gotten off scot-free.
But the police will be here in any minute. We'll get away with this.
No, that's called the police have
Now listen up, you reprobates. We're gonna take those bodies to the cellar, stack 'em high, and leave Body Manor one by one, and pretend that none of this ever happened.
I can't forget all of this.
With murder on the menu, the price of blackmail just tripled.
Forgotten.
Guys, wait a minute! We can all rush him. He's got no more bullets left in that gun.
Come on now. You don't really think I'm gonna fall for that little old trick, do ya?
It's not a trick. There was one shot at Mr. Body in the study, 2 at the lounge door, 2 at the chandelier, and 1 for the singing telegram girl.
That's not 6.
That's 1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
No, that's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. There was only one shot fired at the chandelier.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Okay, fine. 1 + 2 + Okay, shut up! The point is, there is 1 bullet left in this gun, and whoever moves is gonna get it. So scoot back.
So you're just gonna keep blackmailing us. I'm supposed to pretend like none of this ever happened.
Of course. Why not?
I'll tell you why not. Mrs. Green draws a gun. Lindsay Goodman, FBI. The jig is up.
Or is it?
Wadsworth turns and shoots Mrs. Green. Mrs. Green dodges with matrix-esque finesse. Mrs. Green trains the gun on Wadsworth, who is genuinely now frightened.
You're FBI?
Apparently the dead ring is Mr. Green. He got a letter just like each of you, but he came to the Bureau to ask for help. I came here tonight to take his place. We could have a sting operation.
Some sting. 6 people have died on your watch.
I usually work the desk. My beat is property crime, theft, fraud. That's why I was so tickled when the real Mr. Wadsworth risked his neck to drop a whole briefcase worth of evidence off last night.
Take it!
It's all here, including books from Miss Scarlett, including names of customers and employees justifying why she held the copies listed here on her payroll.
Give me that!
Who in a love letter dressed as Professor Plum?
Knew it.
That's private property.
That seedy telegram girl was the teenage daughter of the head of the you-know-who. Who would have come clean to Daddy? Who would have cleaned out Professor Plum? So you killed her.
Now see here.
Wadsworth makes an attempt to escape Mrs. Green. She trains the gun on him again, grounding him.
These negatives, Colonel. Quite the regular in Miss Scarlett's establishment. Bet you wouldn't be a colonel anymore if that motor sent from your general where she drives you on Tuesday nights.
I just wanted someone to talk with.
Wadsworth takes a step toward Mrs. Green's gun. Mrs. Green thwarts his attempts with ninja-like moves and carries on with a flourish.
Shark fin soup indeed, Mrs. Peacock. Too bad you and Cook couldn't keep quiet. If only she hadn't babbled about your rivalries, maybe you wouldn't have killed her just before joining us in the billiard room. Circumstantial evidence were never put up in court of law. No, but this notarized record from the Cook will. And Miss White, you weren't lying, were you? You really did hate Yvette.
Flames. Flames on the side of my face.
Okay, we get it.
Revealing a file, seemingly out of thin air.
Here's a container holding fingerprints collected from the scenes of your previous murders.
I never murdered my husband.
Fingerprints I'm sure the FBI will be able to match to the noose tied around Yvette's neck.
I wore gloves.
Mrs. Green opens her vest to reveal Mrs. White's gloves pinned to her chest.
You mean these? And last but not least, Mr. Bobby Body.
It's Robert.
Now, Mr. Body, you didn't hate Yvette at all, did you?
What's it to you?
Mrs. Green card love affair is the icing on the cake of this FBI file. A file on the whole Body family. Your butler, the real Wadsworth, has been feeding us information for months. Talk about a real American.
He was British!
You know what I mean. I can see why you tried to kill him twice. Your shuck missed him in the study, but he wisely played dead. It wasn't until you caught him trying to escape that you bludgeoned him to death with the lead pipe I dropped while running to the kitchen.
Lead pipe?
I mean, really, Miss Scarlett, who drops a murder weapon?
I didn't know it was a murder weapon. Point is, the Body family has been wanted for organized crime for generations, but they've always eluded the law. Until now. Tonight, the Body family business has reached a dead end.
No, you leave my family out of this!
Wadsworth, rage, uses a dagger he snagged from Mrs. Peacock's purse to lunge at Mrs. Green. Mrs. Green fires, shooting Wadsworth successfully.
Oh. Larry. I mean, Linda. Hold me. Lindsay. Second wind! And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll say my case, of which
I'm not yet. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, but much more than me. I did it. Lindsay!
Well, this was the most exciting night I've had in a long time. And now, you're all under arrest. Officers?
Pops of guns burst through the door. The guests hold up their hands.
Here are the criminals we've been looking for, and you'll find them according to their confessions in the billiard room.
Oh, the tapes.
All right, who done it?
Who did it? They all did it. But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body,
She indicates Wadsworth.
it was me. Special Agent Lindsay Goodman in the hall with my gun.
Well done, Goodman.